This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to it. The Edmonton Oilers have made a major move this morning, starting things off with firing Jay Woodcroft from the bench. Of course, we'll have a breakdown here in a moment, but just to get you the confirmation here in a matter of seconds, Elliotte Friedman reporting as of just before 10 a.m. this morning that Jay Woodcroft has been fired by the Edmonton Oilers. This is rather huge news for Oilers fans. I know we were somewhat expecting things to change here over the last 48 hours, as we did have reports from Heavy Hockey and of course Ryan Rishaug as well, mentioning that the Oilers may look at firing both Woodcroft, Holland, and possibly Dave Manson as well. But now here we have it. Jay Woodcroft, at least for now, has been relieved of his coaching duties. Obviously, instant analysis on my part. This is an absolute joke by the Edmonton Oilers. More or less very embarrassing for them to go out there and fire Jay Woodcroft when it clearly was not an Edmonton Oilers coaching issue here, right? Is something I've defended quite well. Is Jay Woodcroft has been let down from the start of the season by his players. And you see here Elliotte Friedman making a coaching change, Jay Woodcroft relieved of his duties. Everybody, including myself, thought last night would buy some time for the Edmonton Oilers and Jay Woodcroft to come settle up some differences and see where they possibly could go from here, but that does not appear to be the case this morning. It will be a coaching change for the Edmonton Oilers. I'll be live with you here for the next little bit as we try to figure out who will be replacing Jay Woodcroft, but as of right now, we just have a little bit of breaking news, I guess you could say, in terms of Jay Woodcroft being relieved right out of the gate on a Sunday morning, a long weekend Sunday morning nonetheless. So friends, Jay Woodcroft had an absolute tear as Edmonton Oilers head coach, one of, if not the most winningest coaches in a long while that we've ever had. And when you look at it here for Jay Woodcroft, hold on, I've got all kinds of things coming in. Jay Woodcroft, since being hired by the Oilers, has the 5th most wins in the NHL head coaching record, 79, 41, and 13, a 643 points percentage. And yeah, no, it's absolutely ridiculous that the Oilers have fired Jay Woodcroft. Again, I would have been the first one to say Jay's not the problem. Yes, he was likely the first to go, but not the issue. So just a really, really tough morning to wake up to in oil country. Again, friends, if you're just waking up and hearing this news right from me, I am sorry that you have to hear it again. We will flash back to this Elliotte Friedman tweet this morning that explains it right here. The Edmonton Oilers making a coaching change. Jay Woodcroft being relieved of his duties. Thought last night's win would buy some time, but that's not the case. Obviously, yes, I did talk to you post-game after the Oilers beat the Kraken 4-1, and we discussed things where we said, you know, it's something that's still very likely. However, obviously, you'd think that the win would have bought Jay Woodcroft and the crew some time to go out there and get this thing righted, right? It was Jay himself who said one win makes the streak. I will flash though to somebody in the comments section yesterday saying that you know, the Oilers, now that they know a move's being made, now that they know who's coming in to replace them, not that we know, but now that we know, basically saying that the Oilers were going to play lights out and go win a hockey game just because they'll be happy with the change. And I guess maybe that is what the case is here for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not 100% sure what comes next here. We're going to try and stay live until we at least know who's coming in for the Oilers. But as it currently sits, friends, Jay Woodcroft has been fired, and now we're left scrambling once again. No word yet on if we have a possible replacement or anything. Ice District's Authenticus and the Edmonton Oilers retweeting Zach Hyman's hat trick deal. That's really all we're seeing here. There's nothing else as of yet, as Sportsnet just putting out their post on it. But friends, this is a wild way to wake up on a Saturday or Sunday morning. I've been confusing Saturday and Sunday all day already, and it's only 10 o'clock. But well, yeah, no, it's absolutely unbelievable to see that the Oilers have gone out there and fired Jay Woodcroft following a win. I know obviously all of us expected, if we lost last night, Jay would have been relieved of duties post-game. But no, that's the case this evening. Jay Woodcroft has been fired this morning by the Edmonton Oilers following a 4-1 victory over top of the Seattle Kraken. One of, if not the craziest things I have seen in a long while right now. So I guess we'll see what ends up happening here for the Oilers as we continue along this next little bit. But just kind of refreshing, waiting to see if we have any word on if and who is going to replace Jay Woodcroft as Edmonton Oilers head coach. Just to get to the chat here, friends, I guess actually there's folks asking if this is a real legit thing. It is absolutely real and legit. Edmonton Oilers head coach Jay Woodcroft has been relieved of his duties. Thought last night's win would buy some time, but that's not the case. That from Elliot Friedman just before 10 o'clock this morning. An unfortunate go, but of course, as we expected, as we know in Edmonton Oilers land, the coach is always the first one to go, and that is the case here today with Jay Woodcroft being relieved of his duties as Edmonton Oilers head coach. Absolutely embarrassing move, I think, from the Edmonton Oilers in my perspective, just to not take the bold step and let Ken Holland go first. I don't care if the plan was to always fire both, but not to fire Ken Holland before Jay Woodcroft is a really suspect move and a really questionable, in my mind, move as well. So really, really tough here for the Edmonton Oilers, obviously, today to go out here and do this. You know what, again, I'll echo some sentiments here. The season was not on Jay Woodcroft so far. And right now, it's just where it is Jay Woodcroft pays the price for a lackluster start, a 3-9-1 start, might I add, for the Edmonton Oilers. So a really tough go here right out of the gate for the Oilers, and now we're left scrambling as once again, mid-season in a slump, we're going to replace a coach for the third, fourth time in a row, it feels like, and we're going to see if it pays off. Obviously, last time when we replaced Dave Tippett with Jay Woodcroft, it worked out like a charm and we went to the third round of the playoffs, but Jay Woodcroft was inheriting a team in a little bit better of a situation than necessarily the next coach of the Edmonton Oilers is going to inherit here from Jay Woodcroft at 3-9-1. So yeah, no, that's where we're at right now. Jay Woodcroft relieved of his duties as Edmonton Oilers head coach. This is yeah, as Kurt Levins is saying, this is a mistake. Yeah, no, mistakes have been made by him. Yes, Jay Woodcroft has made some mistakes, but this whole mess has hardly been only on him. So yeah, it's a shocking move. I really don't know what to tell you this morning other than I am bewildered. I am blown away that the Edmonton Oilers have chosen to fire Jay Woodcroft before Ken Holland. Yes, there was some easy moves like potentially firing Dustin Schwartz just to get a new voice on the bench that doesn't necessarily mean anything to the main coaching staff other than the goalies. Again, I'm not 100% sure what conversations have gone on in Edmonton, but again, I'd like to tip my hat to Heavy Hockey there doing their stuff, tweeting out earlier on Friday night saying, yeah, the Oilers are going to make a move here after the game on Sunday or Saturday, and that's exactly what happened here for the Edmonton Oilers. They've gone out and fired Jay Woodcroft. Again, friends, if you are just joining me, I am not making this up. This is breaking news, as they would used to say in RTA. Edmonton is making a coaching change. Jay Woodcroft being relieved of his duties. Thought last night's win would buy some time, but that's not the case. That coming down at 9:59, so about 16 minutes ago, Jay Woodcroft was let go from his head coaching duties as Edmonton Oilers head coach, and now we're just waiting to see what let's see. Yeah, right. It's literally. There's no news still. There's no news at all yet. But yeah, that's where we're currently at, friends. It's a wild start to the day. I'm waiting for the news. I'm looking for the news. We got to see when the news comes in, but there's still nothing substantial here right now. But again, just it's shocking. It's absolutely disappointing to see that the Edmonton Oilers would elect. It's not that I'm upset fully that they fired Jay Woodcroft, but that they would elect to fire Jay Woodcroft first instead of first getting rid of Ken Holland, right? There's two problems if you want to look at it in Edmonton. And number one is and always has been Ken Holland for 98% of Edmonton Oilers fans. Jay Woodcroft finishes his coaching career with the Oilers at a 643 win or points percentage. That's a pretty dang good percentage there if you're an Edmonton Oilers head coach over the last 20 years. I think even Craig McTavish doesn't have that quite numbers. So it's a very tough morning to start here in oil country. Obviously, we'd love to have been able to talk about something positive. We started off the day talking about Connor McDavid and his lackluster performance to start this year, but now all of a sudden here we are right out of the gate talking about losing Jay Woodcroft, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, due to a firing from higher in the organization. We're still waiting word here. There's nothing here as of right now. There isn't much here. The Oilers fired Jay Woodcroft. That's coming from Oilers Nation now. And there's not much yet. I'm sure we will have the full announcement here in a little bit. But friends, what a wild start to the day. If you're just joining me, thank you for being aboard this morning. Again, not making this up. If you're not believing it, I know it's Sunday morning and things kind of take a crazy turn when you just get out of bed. That's shocking enough. The Edmonton Oilers are making a coaching change. Jay Woodcroft being relieved of his duties. Thought last night's win would buy some time, but that's not the case for the Oilers and Jay Woodcroft. So that's where we find ourselves, friends. Welcome aboard to Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard this morning. Obviously, I would wish it was under better terms, but it is where we find ourselves. It's been an interesting start to the year. Of course, we are exactly a month into the season. The Oilers are 3-9-1 on the year, and that's kind of where we find ourselves, not in a good situation at all. So we'll see what ends up coming from this for the Edmonton Oilers, but as it currently sits, we are awaiting word on who will replace who will replace Jay Woodcroft on the Edmonton Oilers bench. The Edmonton Oilers played their best game of the season last night and ended a 4-game losing streak. It wasn't enough to save Jay Woodcroft's season. That coming from Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Woodcroft's Oilers won 3 playoff rounds in 2 years, yet he coached just 20 more games than Dallas Eakins for the Edmonton Oilers. That is absolutely unbelievable that in 20 more games than Dallas Eakins, Jay Woodcroft did what he did, but that's the case here as friends. It's a breaking news morning, I guess you could see. When it comes to possible replacements, I think there's only one logical choice, and it's one that Patrick from the Oilers Fanatic has been reporting on rather heavily, and that would be, of course, Gerard Gallant. That is the name that makes most sense in terms of a guy that's sitting on his bum right now and a guy that could very easily fit the portfolio of what Edmonton Oilers fans are hoping for. It would be Gerard Gallant, that is for sure. So, that's what we're looking for here. I think that's the most commonsensical choice you could make. Obviously, there are some other choices, but that is not who I would want, and that is obviously not, that is who I would want. There are a lot of other choices that I would not want, I guess you would say, but. Friends, breaking news morning again. I'm just seeing a ton of you joining in here. We're already up almost over 300 of you aboard here on Dolynny TV. I'm spinning wheels here, but again, we've been live for 14 minutes, and I do apologize if you've missed the news. The Edmonton Oilers are making a coaching change. Jay Woodcroft being relieved of his duties. Thought last night's win would buy some time, but that's not the case. I will flash you back, way back when Jay Woodcroft was on the verge of being hired by the Edmonton Oilers, right? Promoted from the Bakersfield Condors to behind the bench in Edmonton. I had actually, about a month or two prior to that happening, canned a couple of videos, one for just straight up firing Dave Tippett and one for hiring Jay Woodcroft after firing Dave Tippett. It was something I felt very strong about. I knew that was going to be the course of action, and that was what the Edmonton Oilers chose to do, was hire Jay Woodcroft in place of Dave Tippett. And the Oilers went on 2 magical runs back-to-back years, and now you're looking for somebody to pick up the pieces, right the ship, and then obviously give us a memorable run as well. So you look back to the last few rants I've been on where I said, give me something, get them all gone, or whatever the case might be, goodbye, and just simply trying to change the course of the season. While now, whether I want to have a better narrative or not, I'm going to have a narrative that is much better than we've had, because the changes that some of us want, some of us don't want, have been made, and now we have to sit there and find out what happens next for our Edmonton Oilers squad. But again, friends, welcome aboard to Dolynny TV. I'm Tyson. At this time, if you've been hanging out with me for the past 5 minutes, I am going to ask you, if you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button, because I will promise you we are unlikely to find out who the Edmonton Oilers' new head coach is prior to me having to end the live stream here, but we'll find out right now. Obviously, we'll try and stay live for about the next 15 minutes to see if the Edmonton Oilers make their move. But yeah, no, it's absolutely heartbreaking to see Jay Woodcroft done, and I'd like to thank everybody for joining the chat this afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from as well. Just to say, it's been a big day. I do have to be in Strathmore by 1 o'clock to tune into the RMAA Renegades game, but we'll try and carry you through here in the next 15 minutes to see if we can figure out who the Edmonton Oilers are going to hire to replace Jay Woodcroft on the bench. Again, I think my instant analysis, for those of you wondering, is simply the Oilers should not have fired Jay Woodcroft first. You know what? You can fire him at any point. He's a head coach. That's fair and dandy by you. However, I think Ken Holland should have been the fall guy for this situation, and somehow, someway, Ken Holland survives yet another hired coach. And while the Oilers are no better off than they were yesterday by doing so. So this is very, very tough, but again, it's as Toff is saying in the comments there, not overly surprising. We knew that was about to happen. Heavy Hockey had reported it on Friday. Patrick, the Oilers fanatic, had put it out on YouTube and obviously echoed out to 54,000 people, forewarning you that the Oilers would be firing Jay Woodcroft, Ken Holland, and Dave Manson at some point this weekend. But as of current, we only have Jay Woodcroft fired. If you're just tuning in, friends, again, I'll flash the tweet here from Elliot Friedman just shy of 10 o'clock this morning. Edmonton is making a coaching change. Jay Woodcroft being relieved of his duties. Thought last night's win would buy some time, but that's not the case. And to repeat myself again, I think all of us thought that one more win from Jay Woodcroft, after going out there and saying, hey, it takes one win to start a streak. We thought with that mentality, if they win, you know what, it might buy some time, get us into that Monday game against the Islanders. Suddenly, maybe you win 2 in a row, and now we're really talking about Jay Woodcroft maybe doing something special here with the Edmonton Oilers to reverse course, but that is not going to be the case for Jay Woodcroft anyways. As Edmonton Oilers head coach, he has been relieved of his duties, and for now, the Oilers will be in the coaching market looking for somebody probably named Gerard Gallant. That's what I think the common sense is here. But yeah, it's been a long run here for the Edmonton Oilers over the past several years. Ryan, to your comment, Eakins, McClellan, Hitchcock, Tippett, Jay Woodcroft, and now who's coming after this, I'm not 100% sure. But again, when it comes down to it, there were a lot more easy options than firing Jay Woodcroft, right? The coach is always the easiest scapegoat for a bad start. But again, Dustin Schwartz is the longest tenured member of the bench. Very easily could have moved on from him. Not necessarily even ripping on the guy. I've done enough of that over my life. But again, just 10 years plus of being around it might be time for a change there, just to get a new voice in there. But that's not the course of action the Edmonton Oilers choose to go with. Then you also look at the other side, Ken Holland, who's been here since he hired basically Dave Tippett, and that's not the course of the action the Edmonton Oilers choose to go with either. So very, very tough to see the Oilers choose to fire Jay Woodcroft first. Obviously, Jeff Jackson, I don't know to what extent he was involved, although I would say if this was more of a Jeff Jackson decision than a Ken Holland decision, I will tell you that does not surprise me. I was the first one to theorize the day Jeff Jackson was hired that Jay Woodcroft's leash as Edmonton Oilers head coach was going to be very, very short and very, very tight, because obviously he is not Jackson's hire. And what we were likely to see is at some point in the near future anyway, a replacement of Jay Woodcroft by Jeff Jackson. And instead it comes just 13 games into the season. We're going to refresh here and see if there is anything here. Critical road trip, 2 out of 6 points. We'll see what comes next. That is from Ryan Rishaug. Ryan Rishaug is confirming Elliot Friedman's report that Jay Woodcroft has been let go by the Edmonton Oilers. So yeah, no, that's where we're at right now. Jay Woodcroft has been let go by the Edmonton Oilers. And tough start to a Sunday morning. A brand new week in Edmonton starts with losing a beloved head coach. I mean, I absolutely loved Jay Woodcroft. I don't think any of us really could say too much of a bad word against him. He was a guy that came in very humble, very grateful for the opportunity, came in, produced results. That's the biggest thing that Jay Woodcroft did as Edmonton Oilers head coach, was produce results. We had so many of the head coaches not produce results over the past few years, and the Oilers under Jay Woodcroft have won as many playoff series as they did back under Craig McTavish in 05-06. And I mean, realistically speaking, yes, it's split up by 2 years, but not one head coach in the past 20 years has been able to win as many playoff series as Craig McTavish, other than Jay Woodcroft. So that's absolutely huge. There you go. So this coming from Frank Saravelli. Hold on here. Let's go figure this out, because this is huge news. We do have a huge bit here. And how about this? This is going to shock you, friends. I'm going to cue this up here, and the new Edmonton Oilers head coach that both Ryan Whitney and Frank Saravelli are hearing is coming in. Well, this is wild. This is absolutely insane. Sorry, it's taken me a moment to cue up the graphic. Give me just a second. The Edmonton Oilers have hired Connor McDavid's former junior coach as the new head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. So when you're talking about the Jeff Jackson love affair and the effect, guess what? That's exactly where we're going at. Let me go replace this here quickly, and let's go here. New Edmonton Oilers head coach. So we did get it. This coming from Ryan Whitney, who had just given up on the Oilers. It is new head coach Kris Knoblauch, who will be the new coach of the Edmonton Oilers here, replacing Jay Woodcroft. So in the matter of that span of time, about 30 minutes, we get start to finish wall-to-wall coverage on Jay Woodcroft. And let's just confirm this, as it sounds like Kris Knoblauch will be the new head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, as you see in this tweet here, he is Connor McDavid's former junior coach. So again, just to say, Jeff Jackson had this man pinned. I guess you could say if we got this move that quickly, you would expect that this is fully all Jeff Jackson here. Absolutely wild to see, but Jeff Jackson goes out there and makes no mistake, no bones about it, quickly replacing Jay Woodcroft with, I guess, who would be his man, known very well from the time with Jay Woodcroft, with Connor McDavid in the minors. Kris Knoblauch with the Hartford Wolfpack. For those of you that don't follow the Edmonton Oilers X-Sphere very well, there is a former Edmonton Oilers blogger that is now the play-by-play voice of the Hartford Wolfpack in Alex Thomas, a guy that's done very well kind of covering the Edmonton Oilers over the past few years, and then signed up to be the play-by-play voice for the Hartford Wolfpack. He's done a ton. From everything I remember him saying about Kris Knoblauch, lots to say about a good head coach there. Obviously a very tough go, though, for Jay Woodcroft to be replaced, I guess, in effect, by, of course, Connor McDavid's junior coach. As we go to the AHL here, if I can find it on the Sportsnet website here, let me go quickly cue that up. And standings, if we could quickly go here. And so the standings right now in the AHL, the Hartford Wolfpack are 7-3-1 on the season. They have a plus 11 goal differential, and they have, of course, 6 regulation wins out of those 7. They're 5-1-1 on the road, 2-2 at home. They are 3-1-1 in their last 5 games. So that's kind of the quick Cole's notes on the Hartford Wolfpack and what Kris Knoblauch, new Edmonton Oilers head coach, has been up to in the last little bit. So absolutely wild turn of events this morning. Did not expect the Oilers to do this, but the Oilers have fired Jay Woodcroft, and that's where it is right now. And so no, Kris Knoblauch is not an unheard of junior coach, I guess to say, syndicate there. Kris Knoblauch has been coaching with the Hartford Wolfpack for a little bit here. Let me go to Google here and see what we can find on Kris Knoblauch. Obviously, I know the name from seeing him with the Hartford Wolfpack. Let's go here, let's go to Wikipedia quickly and cue this up. So Knoblauch coaching career, he was with Kootenay Ice and then with the Erie Otters. He served as an assistant coach with the Philadelphia Flyers from 1718 to 1819. The news is flooding in rather quickly here as I'm live. And senior advisor Paul Coffey is also stepping behind the bench as assistant coach. Dave Manson was fired alongside Jay Woodcroft. So there we go. We can confirm Dave Manson has also been fired alongside Jay Woodcroft. So the news is coming in hot here. Jay Woodcroft has been fired, and Hartford Wolfpack head coach Kris Knoblauch will assume the coaching duties. That 4 seconds ago from the Edmonton Oilers friends. Changes made, and that will do it pretty much for me here on the stream. But give me a second here to queue up this graphic for you, and let's get this officially from the Edmonton Oilers, as this is absolutely a wild turn of events this morning. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. I will ask you to hit that subscribe button here in a brief moment, friends. If you are new to the channel, on your way out as the breaking news winds down, please consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV. And as we go now, I will just currently turn this over to this graphic here, as the Oilers have made it official. The Oilers have fired Jay Woodcroft, relieved of duties is a nice way of putting it, and assistant coach Dave Manson this morning. Hartford Wolfpack head coach Kris Knoblauch will assume head coaching duties with the Oilers and will be joined by assistant coach Paul Coffey, who will likely take over the defense. Friends, again, that graphic one more time. The Oilers announced today that head coach Jay Woodcroft and assistant coach Dave Manson have been relieved of their coaching duties. Hartford Wolfpack head coach Kris Knoblauch will assume head coaching duties with the Oilers and will be joined by assistant coach Paul Coffey. Friends, thank you for being aboard here on Dolynny TV today. Really do appreciate you being along for the ride this afternoon. It's been a wild one so far. But Ken Holland survives the firing carousel right now, and the Oilers, as of this morning, officially official, have a new head coach in Kris Knoblauch, Connor McDavid's former junior coach. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for being aboard this morning. Again, please consider hitting that subscribe button on your way out. That would mean a ton to me if you could do that, as we will take a look at a new era of Edmonton Oilers hockey coming the rest of this season. I am up on